All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the channel. The series is continuing. We are looking at a commercial that we shot in maybe the best location that I can remember in my mind, the most beautiful in terms of aesthetics for making something dark and down. Director, locations, they knocked it out of the park. This is going to be fun. And in fact, we're looking inside the same room that we just looked at in the last video. And it's going to be a nighttime interior again. If you haven't seen that video or the rest in the series, the link will be in the description below. Also, before we get started, if you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it, you want more in-depth cinematography stuff, you want to see how the actual sausage is put together on the day, this is it. Ta-da! The link is in the description below for the Patreon group. I could not do these videos without that support. Many thanks to the folks that do help out. Okay, so you'll remember from the last video, we're in this awesome location, right? We've already shot a nighttime scene looking this way. We've already shot a nighttime scene of Old Maid on the sofa, except we have to do another one, right? We got to do another one. It's going to be the exact same references. This is the style that we are going for, but we need to mix it up a little bit. How are we going to mix it up a little bit? Well, let's look at our storyboards first. So now what has taken place in the story is we're going to open on a wide shot. Guy sitting on the sofa or laying on the sofa. The dog is sitting on his chest. There's going to be a slight back and forth moment between dog and guy. Okay, now, if you were me and you were looking at these boards, what's the first thing that you would ask yourself about these three, oopsie daisies, about these three shots, okay? What do we need to figure out first? Well, the first thing is, what kind of scene is it? Is it a bar scene? Is it an office scene? Is it a dining room table scene? Is it a vehicle scene? Or is it a oneer, right? Is it an other? Is it some Steadicam crazy Ronin shot? Okay, we can eliminate the first one. Dining room table, there's only two people in the scene. Okay, well, are they facing each other in the scene? Or are they facing in the same direction? If they're facing in the same direction relative to one another, that's a bar scene. If they're facing each other, that's an office scene. This is an office scene, right? Facing each other. This is the most common scene that you will shoot as a cinematographer. What do we know immediately from the office scene? What do I like to do with an office scene? There's only two ways to do it. If the camera is over here and they're looking at each other, I want the light on the other side of them. Okay, so already just from this frame, I know where we're going to have to key from. Where are we going to have to key with the level? We're going to have to key from that side. Now I never have to think about it again, right? That's over. All I have to do is think of a solution that will allow me to key from that side. Okay, what is that? Prac is that we talked about it in the last video. We're going to tent out the windows. Then we're going to attach the lamps to the actual location that will actually allow us to push in level behind them. That's out of the way now. Okay, the next thing is framing. The next thing is deciding the schedule and to see how we're going to do it and which is the best way to do this and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so that process, when you get there on the day, 2 seconds, boom, I know exactly where we want to be. I know the shape that we're going to be going for. I know the things to look out for. It's like, okay, well, if we have a prac over here, right, let's do a good prac. We got a prac over here, okay? That's going to be good for them. Then we're going to have to come up with the actual movie light over the top and key them. Then I know we're going to do the windows. Now the problem is, what are we doing over here? Okay, is the answer another prac? Is it another prac to get us in this area? It has to be from behind the table because we don't want to be front lighting the table. We've already gone with the TV gag, so we're not going to do the TV gag again, which means we're going to get no push from here. Do we need push from here? No, the answer is no, we don't. No, we don't, we never do, right? Look at this. This guy is angry. Okay, we got an angry dog and a sad director. They're sad because they think this setup is going to take 4 hours, and this is the first AD. First AD is not happy because they also think it's going to take 4 hours, and we have 55 shots to shoot in a day. Okay, let's go to what we actually did. If we zoom in here, we did a classic setup, which is, yes, we lit from a prac, standing prac. Now just remember, I don't know if you remember, actually I can show you, I think, in the location photos, right? See this big clump of curtains? And then you've got curtain over here, and then you've got curtain again over here, right? That is not an accident. We've done this on purpose. Normally you would have the curtains to like one side, okay? You'd have the curtains to one side and then this whole area would be open. If you did that, That's a huge chunk of a really dark frame that's lit up like a Christmas tree. We want tiny little areas of illumination, not tons and tons and tons of light in a very dark scene. So what do? We limit the amount that you can see outside, and then you shape what you're limiting. And you can do this with a top chop because there's just a lamp outside, right? And it's just ever so slightly hitting the shears. And as they hit the shears, then you shape with, I don't know, you can mist low with the lamp, you can put a top chop in, you can, maybe it's naturally cut by the window, but you don't want the thing entirely illuminated. See how it goes? Light, then dark, then a little bit more light. That's interesting. You know what's not interesting? Like just one flat bit of level. We don't want that. Okay, challenge here is if we're looking at this frame, which is the widest, we're setting ourselves up pretty good with the key, right? The key is going to be, I mean, the coverage stuff is going to be super easy. It'll just be about how do we place the dog relative to the background for him to make it interesting, and the same with the gentleman. Like how low do we come to scrape across? How much do we put back here in the background for level when we look that way? This one is super simple. In fact, this one is so simple, we kept the exact same setup as the last scene that we looked at, which is, I think I can actually go back to it in this video. Let's see if we scroll over here. Am I going to find it? Am I going to find it? Yeah. So it's the same setup here. We just get rid of this TV gag light, and then we adjust the levels over there. We turn off all this prac stuff, and that gets us, oh, come on. Come on, come back. That gets us down to this mood, okay? And again, like, what are we actually doing on the day is, well, can we push, like, let's just nudge this in a little bit, and then we'll push it so it just clips this corner to give us just a tiny little bit of level. And then, oh, I forgot to say, like, this is one where some people like to go one way, some people like to go another way. Generally, I would say, I like to lower the ISO only because it allows me to have more level on set on the day, and it's easier then to divide values on set on the day, right? If they're not so smushed together and the set isn't like really dimly lit, it can be harder to get separation between pracs and moonlight and all that kind of stuff if we ramp it up a little bit and we make the chip a little bit less sensitive. Now, the old me would say, well, we want to give more to the sensor, so then it's a little bit cleaner. Nobody cares about that. Like, you just make it look like you want on the day. These chips now have so much room to manipulate the image. You're nowhere near in danger. The only thing I will say this time is we did shoot ISO 400, right? Which probably means I probably have 3 stops of ND in this place, even at 400. Like, imagine a Christmas tree and then getting the Christmas tree as lit up as it is to look this darkened down. That's what I'm doing. Okay, does it make sense? Maybe not in your world, but I'm not shooting this at 1600 ISO. And I'll tell you why. Because we have this dog that is jet black, and we're just looking for a little bit of level. So I would say this is the one time where you'd want to chat with the director and the post team and be like, okay, we're gonna shoot it up a little bit. We're gonna fill it in a little bit. All the ratios are gonna be there, and then you pull down to the levels that you want. Okay, and then that gives us way more in this dog, which is going to be very hard to get level in. So if we get the wide right, then we cut to coverage. Now, what have we done? Well, I'll tell you what we've done. We've gone dog against the flat curtains. Now, immediately I'm thinking, oh man, it would have been nice to have the dog, right, lined up against the window, right? Would have been nice. Couldn't make it work because of the corner of the room. The corner of the room where we were shooting this dog, and we didn't have time to move the sofa down, anything like that. If you had time, I'd say rather than shooting the dark dog's head back into this nothingness, oops, right? See how it's all one level? What would be cooler if there was a window like here? Then that would make selling this backlight a lot easier. Okay, does the backlight sort of come out of nowhere? Yeah. Is it half a stop too bright? Yep. Are mistakes made on the day? Yep. I would also say, like, if we had the window, then we could have fit like a little bit of prac in there as well, just to give this a little bit more depth. Didn't have the time or the wherewithal to be able to pull that off. We go with our movie light, get rid of the prac. That's why the eye light is so high in the dog's eye. Then we've got the straight gun to the face, which is giving us that prac. And then we have another one over here, which is just trying to get any level on this dog because it was so darkened down. And again, the only thing that we're looking out for with these highlights is that they're not polluting into the surrounding area. We don't want that. We don't want to be able to feel them. And again, if you're working at 1600 ISO or 3200 ISO in this place, and it looks like this to your eye, getting these highlights becomes a lot harder because they're just going to go everywhere. And that is not a good thing. But you can see, I mean, the angle of the key works with the wide shot. That's nice. And then we come down here, and this is probably my favorite from this scene. This is 3900 on the camera with a 2900 tungsten lamp. Just giving us that little tiny bit of backlight. We fix the shape of his face so it angles just a little bit more that way. So we get this. We get two beautiful eye lights because we're lighting from upstage. We've got the dog who's getting hit with another lamp from over here. He's getting filled in because in that wide shot, I don't know if you remember, it's like, remember, we're even in the references, we're going for that blue and tungsten look. So like a little bit more like this, right? I mean, not that extreme, but more tungsten, less blue, as opposed to more blue, less tungsten. But to get that, this is one of those great things where on the day when you're sitting there, all I do is I take this curtain and I just pull it back with my hand. And that gives me way more of this blue light, right? Way more of this blue comes out. And that's what we want. I want to be able to reach out and immediately manipulate the image to exactly how I want it without asking anybody else, because nobody else cares. They've all got other jobs to do. I'm looking for those easy wins. So that is how you end up. Ta-da! With, yeah, probably my favorite shot from the scene. Which again, it does help being on the tribes, being on a 77mm lens, being wide open, 400 ISO. Now this is a scene also where we could have done with some haze, right? To give you this, like that feel in the shadows of openness, this is where the haze really comes through. We didn't have time to do the hazing because when you do the haze at the levels that we work, that means me doing the haze. As opposed to having it like art department's job on set or someone there to maintain, having the special effects person there to maintain the level of haze all day long. It doesn't work like that. So if you don't have a lot of time, nobody likes to wait for haze. Okay, that is the least attractive sound to a first AD, hence a producer and then the director. It's not great. Like you got to really have a lot of time for haze, or you got to have a pretty understanding director. Okay. I think that's it, right? So we got two different looks inside this room. They all matched pretty good. I would say we just went a little bit closer than that image. Well, we went a little bit closer all around, didn't we? Because we don't have full body dog. We've got dog sitting up. We don't have paws here. We're looking more along than down at him, just because I think that's more attractive because you get more depth that way. Yeah, that's our look. What do you think? Did we do a halfway decent job? Did it come out? If you imagine the location, right, looking like that. And also, we shot this during the day, right? So nobody wants to be there at nighttime. Nobody wants to pay night loading. I get it. I don't want to work at night either. Let's tent the thing. How does that sound? Like a plan? Yes. Okay. All right. That's going to do it for this video. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.